In this example, we have two performers on the field, Morgan Shaw and Skylar Hayes. Morgan has a more complex movement. She marches down toward the back hash, moves to the edge of a circle, and then traces the circle. Skylar's movement is simpler. He marches in a straight line across the field. Let me show you how to create both of these movements from scratch using banddrills.com. If I click on Morgan's name, you can see her existing paths listed on the right. She currently has 3 movement segments. Skylar has 1. To demonstrate the process, I'm going to delete all of these paths and recreate them. First, I'll select Skylar and delete his path using the trash can icon. Then I'll select Morgan and remove all 3 of her paths as well. Before we start drawing, there's one important concept to understand. Everything in Banddrills is driven by the audio playhead. The position of the playhead determines when a movement begins and ends. That means if your show contains periods of silence but performers are still moving, you'll want those silent sections included in the audio file so the timing stays accurate. I've already loaded the music, so let's start creating Morgan's first movement. I'll click Draw Path and then click a few points on the field to define the route I want Morgan to follow. Once I'm happy with the path, I'll click Done. Since the playhead is currently at 0 seconds, Morgan will start moving right at the beginning of the show. I'll leave the start time as is and click OK. Now I'll advance the playhead to 8 seconds and click Finish. If I press play, you'll see Morgan follow that path and arrive at her destination exactly 8 seconds into the music. Next, I want Morgan to move to the edge of a circle and then trace it. I'll go to Draw Shapes and select the Circle tool. Then I'll click on the field to place the center of the circle. When I draw the circle, Banddrills automatically names it Circle B. The Circle tool stays active until you exit drawing mode, so I'll press the Escape key to deselect it. Now I'll enter this command, Morgan Shaw, to move to edge of Circle B in 16 counts. Banddrills calculates the shortest path from Morgan's current position to the edge of the circle and creates a new movement segment automatically. Notice that the new path starts at 8 seconds, which is exactly where the previous movement ended. If I play the animation, Morgan moves smoothly to the edge of the circle and arrives there after 16 counts. Now I want Morgan to trace the circle itself. I'll enter Morgan Shaw to trace Circle B in a clockwise direction in 64 counts. After I press Enter, Banddrills generates the entire circular path automatically. If I move the playhead to the 16-second mark and press play, you'll see Morgan begin tracing the circle. Since 64 counts at this tempo are about 32 seconds, she completes the circle at the correct point in the music. Banddrills also lets you define sets. If I click the Add Set button, a new set marker appears at the current playhead location. I can drag this marker anywhere on the audio timeline, rename it, or delete it if needed. For this demo, I'll leave it near the 8-second mark, but in a real production, you'd place sets according to your show's structure. Now let's create Skylar's path. I'll select Skylar Hayes. In this example, Skylar stays still during the first set, so I'll move the playhead to the end of that section before creating any movement. Next, I'll select the Line tool and draw a straight line beginning near Skylar's position. After drawing the line, I'll press Escape to exit drawing mode. The playhead is currently around 11 seconds, so now I'll enter this command, Skylar Hayes, to trace line B in 32 counts. Banddrills creates the movement path along that line automatically. Since 32 counts are about 16 seconds at this tempo, Skylar begins moving at 11 seconds and finishes around 27 seconds into the music. If I press play, you'll see Skylar march across the field in a straight line. Once the path has been created, we don't need line B anymore, so I'll delete it. The movement path stays intact because it has already been calculated. This helps keep the field clean while preserving all performer movements. Now let's move the playhead back to 0 and watch the full sequence. Morgan marches downfield, moves to the edge of the circle, and then traces the circle. Skylar stays stationary during the opening section and then marches across the field along the straight line path. If I click Print Coordinate Sheets, Banddrills generates individual drill sheets for each performer. Each sheet includes that performer's starting position, ending position, and complete set-by-set movement instructions. Adding more performers is also simple. I can click any member from the roster, drop them onto the field, position them where they should start, and then draw paths or use text and voice commands. Thank you for watching this video.